let's just jump right into the HCAMS. That'd be great. So just as a quick introduction, so many of you guys know we have an employee assistance program, and I can't tell you how important it is that you as a building rep are familiar with it, know when and how to make the recommendation. I know those of us that are familiar with it have done a really good job about communicating this to their membership and getting our staff in there. It is probably the fastest and easiest way to protect them. Once they get in that system, they are in the best shape and in the safest hands possible. So I do appreciate the relationship, and the more people that know about it, especially in these trying times, it's becoming more and more important. So thank you very much. Please pay attention, take notes, extensive notes. And of course, the link is also on our website. Thank you both.
Thanks, Mike, for that great introduction. And thanks, the other Mike. My name is Terry Livorsi, and I've been been your EAP for a long time. And I want to specify we're the union's EAP, because management will also have an EAP. We're different. We're the union's EAP. We're going to work in a confidential way and to build a defense, a medical legal defense if necessary. And so without any further ado, as they say, I'm going to announce this is the first time that you've did a Frankie Mallis. She is a college professor over in Pennsylvania, and has a degree in social work. And she formed her union, a couple of years ago. So she understands the union work, and she's put all these trainings together. So Frankie, why don't you take it away?
All right, thank you. So I'm going to just go ahead and pull up my screen for everybody so you can see this presentation we've put together. Okay, and we're seeing this. This is my first time using this platform. Okay. So we're going to talk today about kind of what's going on with everybody as far as the stress response to COVID-19 and where people are mentally. I think this is a really good opportunity for everybody to kind of do like a self-check-in, but also have a better feel for what the members are experiencing right now. And then also looking at some ways that you can start to assist them in real time, and also start to help yourselves to feel better as well. Because, listening to everybody talk, in the first few minutes, like I understand the level of stress that everybody is under and the pressure. And I 100% agree. I've been teaching remotely since March as well. And so I understand, it's not easy. It's not a break. It's just more work, essentially. It's a lot more complicated. It's a lot harder to keep the students engaged and to track what's going on with everybody. It has been incredibly intense. But hopefully just for this short period of time while I'm with you, I would really invite you to relax a little bit, but definitely grab something to write with. There is a assessment portion where you'll get to see exactly what your emotional temperature is with our burnout assessment. And then this is a really great tool that you can have access to and pass on to your members as well. I think this is probably the most important message I can give you right now, and that is that you are a survivor. You are surviving a global pandemic. I can't stress this enough. You are not getting the credit you deserve. You deserve so much more credit for showing up every day. We are under unbelievable amounts of stress and trauma. We have been working remotely we're really heading into about a year. We're adding on to, all of the extra responsibilities we had. Maybe for a minute there when we all went home initially, it might have felt like, oh, great, kind of a break, my commute's gone. That's not true at all, though, because if you were home with your kids, you know that your day just got a lot harder. You had to adapt to, now I have to be in charge of the kids I'm teaching, and I have to be there fully for them, which you want to be. But you have to also watch your children at home as well. Even though they might be fully engaged with their teachers online, that doesn't mean that they can't be that they can be unsupervised all day long. They still need you. And so you've had this unbelievable balance act that you have had to, get through for 9-10 months now. I'm losing track of how long we've been here. And so it has been extremely intense. And, every time you check the news, you're hearing more about the numbers going up. You're hearing more about the different things that are going on. On top of it, we had, crazy election year. We had a lot of social justice movements happening as well. So this has not been a simple year by any, means at all. And so just know that because you have been getting up out of bed, getting dressed, and you're showing up for your family, you're showing up for your friends, you're showing up for your colleagues, you're showing up for your kids, you're showing up for work, you're accomplishing a Herculean feat every single day. You might not think you are. You might just think like, no, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. I promise you, you're not. You're doing amazing stuff right now. Okay. It is going to take years for us to process the level of stress and trauma we carried on our shoulders this entire year. So even if you don't think you're doing anything out of the ordinary, I promise you that you are. You are so much stronger than you think. You have gotten stronger than ever this year. And so just know right off the bat that you really do deserve so much more credit. You deserve all the applause. You're a survivor. You're doing just amazing. Productivity has not slowed down. And during a pandemic, it 100% should have. We all needed permission to slow down and take a breath. We have not done that. So just know how much credit you really, truly deserve. And that's not to say that before the pandemic, life was perfect. We were already stressed. And this is really impacting the way that we have responded to the pandemic. So the thing to keep in mind is we live in a culture that glorifies busyness. We glorify having a big to-do list, and I have to go to do this, and I have this place to go to, and that place to go to, and I have to run this errand, and my kid has to go, be at the soccer game, blah, blah, blah. Like we're running. And we will unleash these lists of things we have to do or how stressed out we are to our friends as if we are going to win some kind of award for being the most stressed out person. Like we literally tried to win this award, and it's not an award we want to win. Nobody should want this at all. And I think that really kind of fed into the way we responded to the pandemic. Well, okay, I'm going to keep showing up for work. I'm going to be there for my kids. I'm going to be there for my family. I'm going to keep doing all the things that I have to do, despite the fact that I am under unbelievable pressure right now. And so what has happened then is because you have kept going under all of this stress, your window of tolerance has actually decreased. Now that means that everybody has a window of tolerance, which is how much stress they are able to handle on a regular, consistent basis before they kind of snap, before they get to a place of, nope, can't take it anymore, and they check out. Okay. And they can't calm back down. And so because you have been carrying so much stress with you prior to the pandemic and then adding it on and on and on and on during, your window has actually gone down. So I want you to know right now that if you have been finding that little things are triggering you and making you angry or making you cry, or you're finding that you're having an emotional reaction to something that normally would never, you would never look twice at, it's not your fault. It is a result of everything that you have been carrying with you for this entire year. So even on top of all of the, taking care of your kids at home, taking care of your students, you had to learn how to teach virtually. You had to get comfortable being on the camera. You had to figure out a new system. So it has been intense. So, so just know, you really just, I can't stress this enough. I mean, I'm a college professor, so it's a little bit different, but really I have a really good sense that you deserve so many awards. So kind of what's going on inside of you right now, how stress affects the body. So basically, this is so key. Whenever the brain perceives danger, and perceives is the major word here, it's going to send out cortisol, which is the stress hormone, into your body. And it's there to protect you. It's there to increase your heart rate, up your blood pressure, bring all your energy and strength to the surface to give you an adrenaline rush so that your fight or flight response can get triggered, which if you are actually in danger, this is fantastic. This is going to help get you alert enough and strong enough to save your life. The problem is the brain does not know the difference between something that is actually dangerous and something that you think is dangerous. And so if you were out in the woods, you went deep enough into the woods, not today because it's freezing, but and you came across a bear, you would want that cortisol in your system. Okay. That would be really a great thing to have. The problem is your brain is thinking you're in danger when you open up emails from work, when you open up your social media accounts, when you turn on the news. Every time you leave your house and you put your mask on, your brain is going, oh, this is dangerous, this is dangerous, this is life-threatening. And so your brain doesn't really know the difference. And so what's happening is your body is being overdosed essentially with cortisol. It's coming out into your system again and again and again. In small doses, it's okay. It's going to leave you once the stress leaves you. So imagine you're driving and a car cuts you off. You go, you tense up and you have that stress response. That's the cortisol. But the second that the car drives away and you realize like, oh, that's fine, I'm not in danger, your body's going to relax. But imagine that before your body relaxed, something came on the radio in the car about the news, and then your body doesn't relax. That's what's been happening for all of 2020. And so we have not had a chance to release any of this hormone out of our body. So we have chronic levels of it now, essentially. And so when that happens, these are the results that you get. You experience hypertension, you experience fatigue, you get migraines, your sleep is interrupted. You can have acid reflux, you feel more hostile, more angry, you can get arthritis, you might feel depressed, you might have a decreased metabolism. And then the one thing that I think is really detrimental here in a pandemic is your immune system is actually decreasing. And so when you're stressing and worrying about, the pandemic, it's actually making you more susceptible to it. Okay. So, a lot of things kind of working together here, although there are, strategies around this, which we're going to get to. So this is just to let you know kind of where you are right now. So with all that said, because I know some of that sounds a little scary, you are stronger than you think. Humans are extremely adaptable creatures. We are really willing to acclimate to any new scenario. We did that. You saw that happen in real time this year. So just remember, you are so much stronger than you think. And, wherever your stress levels are, there are ways that you can deal with it. So this is where we're going to do a check-in. We're going to see exactly how we're feeling. So this is our burnout assessment. And so what I'm going to do is have you take out your pen and paper, whatever you're using to write with, and I'm going to ask you 20 questions. These are all yes or no questions. I want you to answer with your gut reaction. You don't need to think about this. If something feels like a yes to you, write down a yes. If it doesn't feel like yes, write down no. Simple as that. Okay. Okay. Question number 1. Do you become tired very easily or have less energy during the day than normal? Are you tired earlier than usual, or are you tired after simple activities? If any one of those things was a yes for you, write down yes. Question number 2, are you hearing from friends and family things like, you don't look so good, you look really tired, you're looking a little rough lately, and you're just feeling so annoyed, just ready to lash out as soon as you hear these things? Okay, so that's number 2, yes or no. Question number 3, do you find that you're working harder, working longer, you're working more hours, but you're accomplishing less or making more mistakes than usual? Question number 4, are you feeling cynical or helpless or just kind of unenthusiastic in general about your life or the near future? Number 5, are you feeling sad throughout the day? Are you finding that you're crying frequently, much more frequently than before, or you just kind of feel constantly like you're on the verge of tears? Okay, so if any of that feels like a yes to you, you can write down yes for number 5. Number 6, are you having trouble remembering things? Are you finding it hard to focus or concentrate or feeling like you have brain fog? Number 7, have you withdrawn from your usual activities? Of course, we have all, because things are canceled. But are you doing more than what's recommended? Are you canceling, virtual plans with friends and family members? Are you withdrawing from maybe, doing a workout at home via video or anything that you can do? Basically, have you self-isolated beyond the safety recommendations? Number 8, are you suffering from any lingering physical complaints? And very specifically here, not COVID-19, not COVID-19 symptoms. You don't believe you have COVID-19. You're just feeling, you've got more headaches than usual. You're kind of achy. Maybe there's a cold that just won't leave you. And then question number 9, are you unable to complete your daily tasks? Are you surprised when the day is suddenly over and you're not really sure where the day went or what you did? Question number 10, do the things and the people who usually bring you joy feel like too much work, a hassle, or just kind of uninteresting to engage with right now? So yes or no. Number 11, are you caring for elderly parents or relatives? Number 12, do you have a compromised immune system? 13, do you live with someone who has a compromised immune system? 14, are you worried about contact with students? I know you're remote, or parents, colleagues, or just, the public in general. 15, do you frequently engage in social media? Are you scrolling for more than an hour a day? 16, do you look at and or respond to negative posts on social media and feel angry? And when I say respond, you're either actually responding, you're writing back in the comments or posting a response, or you're having an emotional reaction. You're reading these things and you are getting worked up. You're getting very emotional when you see this. 17, has your sleep become disrupted? Are you finding you're sleeping a lot more than normal, a lot less? Are you waking up more during the night, finding it harder to fall asleep? Any kind of disruption to your sleep pattern? 18 is if you're a teacher. Are you worried about your students getting sick? 19, if you're a parent, are you worried about your kids getting sick? And then 20, are you finding that you are regularly very concerned about friends and family members getting sick? I want you to just take a quick second to think about how many of these behaviors we probably take for normal. We think these are completely normal, and just know that they're not. So what we have, we can get you a copy of the assessment for sure. Yes. So what I'm going to have you do here is get your score. So you are going to give yourself a point for every yes. So you want to count up your yeses. That's going to tell you your score here. And if you feel like it, pop your score into the chat and share with each other. Every day when we do this training, we find that's really helpful, because what we tend to find is that most people are scoring in the pre-burnout. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing some high scores coming in. Pre-burnout to burnout range. And I think it's just helpful to know that if you're scoring high, you're not alone. I think that's really important to know, that you're not the only one being affected by this. It doesn't make you weak at all. This is across the board. This is how everybody has been feeling. This is how yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of really high scores here. So yeah. So for the luckies who maybe scored 0 to 4 points, low stress, that's the ideal. That's really where we want people to be. And that's a tough place to be even without a pandemic. So, it's definitely, it's a tough one. That's basically regular life. Life is always going to have some stress in it, but you're able to come back down from it. You're able to focus on the positives. And we always just caution that anybody who's there right now, if you did score that, great. We just really hope you're there because you're amazing at taking care of your mental health, and not because you're not taking precautions or COVID-19 seriously. 5 to 7 points. It sounds like we may have a few people kind of hovering in that arena. And this is where I would probably say most people were before the pandemic. Mild stress, it's like pretty consistently stressed out. You have good days, you have bad days, but mostly it's pretty good. So it's a pretty consistent place to be. It's definitely a higher level of stress than you would want, but it's one that I think most people find to be their normal. 8 to 13 points, which I did see quite a few of you score here, is pre-burnout. So that's extremely stressed out. This is a slightly dangerous place to be, because it's very easy, if you don't start to take control of your mental health and set some boundaries for yourself and for work, that you can easily slip into burnout. It's very easy to just slip into that place. So what's happening here is you still have good days, but you're probably finding that the bad days are starting to outnumber the good. You're really starting to find that you're becoming more stressed than normal. You're feeling worse more of the time. And then I did see quite a lot of you scoring pretty high into burnout. So that's 14 to 20 points. So that's burnout. That's the highest level of stress you can possibly be. It's extreme stress. COVID-19 is having a negative impact on your mental health. It just means that you're feeling it. You're having all of these things. It's making it harder for you to function. It's making it harder for you to get through the day. And so we know a lot of members are feeling this way. And when this starts to happen, as you saw already with the cortisol, that's actually my favorite quote. I have that on a pillow. Anyway, when that's starting to happen, you lose the ability to really start making choices, the way that you would if you were feeling, calm and in control. There's different things happening in the brain. And so what happens then is it starts to impact your job performance, and you start finding that you're maybe missing days of work, you're making mistakes, you're not showing up when you need to, you're skipping out on meetings, you're not doing your lesson plans, whatever's going on. And it's not a choice. Nobody's deciding, not one single person when the pandemic started said, hey, I'm going to just chill through this whole thing. Nobody said that. And if it looks like somebody's doing that, they're probably struggling. They probably, really need some assistance. And so this really does start to impact job performance, and then can put people on a path of discipline who don't want to be there, who don't deserve to be there. They're just carrying immense loads of stress. So, and we will make this burnout assessment available to everybody. And so you can certainly take it again, which I recommend, just to kind of check in with yourself on a pretty regular basis and see how you're doing, because you can then see if you're actually starting to feel better, or if you're actually heading towards a higher level of stress. And then you can definitely share this with, all your members. So now we know where we are. We kind of have an understanding of what has caused this, and let's see what we can do about it now. So first things first, of course, you can't exercise your rights if you don't know your rights. You must know what is available to you. And members, what we're hearing is that they don't always know that the EAP, the union EAP, is an option. That's a really big one. They don't really know that there's, some people don't even know what an EAP is, or they don't realize that there is a choice between one offered, by the administration, or one that is independent, or one that's focused completely on serving the union. And I just saw a question pop up about sharing the presentation. We have our holiday survival guide, which is the key components of this all put together in a PowerPoint presentation that we will share with you as well. So yeah, definitely you can have access to this information afterwards. So just in case you are unfamiliar, oh great, it was sent out. Thank you. Very on top of it. So just in case you're unfamiliar with, an EAP or us in general. So basically, an employee assistance program or an employee assistance professional is somebody who is trained and certified to essentially offer job protection for people in times of extreme stress. Okay. If somebody is experiencing extreme stress, anxiety, depression, any sort of behavioral health issue, or substance abuse, which we are seeing a lot of these issues are getting heightened and worsened, with the pandemic, because people are in isolation, and again, just the extra levels of responsibility we have all taken on. None of us have slowed down. We've sort of sped up. So, a lot of people are experiencing more and more of these symptoms. And so we treat mental health the same way the rest of the world treats physical health. We understand if you have the flu, you need to stay home, you need to rest, you need to get better. If you're depressed, you also need to get better. You deserve to feel better. And the problem is with mental health, it's invisible. And so there's still a lot of stigma around it, because, we can't necessarily always see it. Somebody could be incredibly anxious, they can have an anxiety disorder, but they can appear as if there's nothing wrong. It's very easy to mask a lot of these issues. And so that's why it's harder to see, it's harder to admit to. But again, everybody deserves to feel better, and everybody deserves to take time off from work if they have to. There's time available for you to use for this reason, not just because you have a cold or you have COVID. So what we do is we will work with you. We will listen to what's going on. What's your individual situation? Are you on a path of progressive discipline? What's your family situation? What do you need? What support do you need so that you can get the assistance you need so you can start to feel better, whether that's going in for a treatment, whether that's being referred to a counselor, whatever it is. And then if you are on a path of progressive discipline, we will use state and federal laws to protect the job. We can temporarily suspend disciplinary action, and build up a medical legal defense, okay, using like the ADA, and there's some other laws that we're currently working with. So for the remainder of this year, a couple weeks, think it's actually 2 weeks at this point. We have the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. This is going to expire on December 31st. I am patiently sort of waiting to see if this renews or what's coming in its place, so that I can let everybody know. But basically, this is, time off. This is leave for COVID related reasons. Okay. If you have children who were home because their schools are closed, okay, you were entitled, under, certain employers were supposed to give time off. The other thing too is if you got sick with COVID or you had to take care of somebody with COVID, then this would be paid time off, not full pay in every situation or for the entire time, but essentially paid time off. And what we have been hearing, this has been a huge issue that we're hearing from members in trainings, is they are being told by the administration to use their regular leave for COVID related reasons instead of going to this first. This is supposed to be an expansion on FMLA, and you're not supposed to have to dip into your sick days, your personal days because of COVID. You were supposed to get extra support. So this has been a really big piece and why the education is so important, and making sure that people know that we're here and that they can refer everybody to us if they need to, because we can start to address a lot of these issues. Never going anywhere. I know this was sort of, I think maybe mentioned a little bit earlier, but Weingarten rights, so important. You have a right to union representation during any meeting with management, especially if you think it's going in a direction of discipline or job performance. All you got to do is say, I want to use my Weingarten rights, and then management needs to let your union rep be available for the meeting. If they want to continue the meeting without your rep there, okay, you still have to go because, again, you don't want to be insubordinate, but you don't have to say anything. You can be silent for the entire meeting. You don't have to talk. And then you let your, you would let someone know. And then obviously members would, probably let you know that this had happened. Americans with Disabilities Act, which is the one we work with a lot. So employers cannot discriminate against any employee with a disability or medical issue. Again, physical or mental. You are extremely stressed. You are extremely depressed. You're having, trauma responses to COVID-19, which is completely normal, completely expected. Then you do deserve to have a chance to get better. It's not something to just go, well, I'm just going to tough it out. We've been toughing it out all year. It's okay to get some help. There's also the Family Medical Leave Act, FMLA. Again, it's usually 12 weeks of unpaid generally, but job protective leave where your health benefits are maintained and your job is there for you at the end of the 12 weeks. In New Jersey, you have Chapter 69. Once you speak to an EAP, the second you give us a call, disciplinary action can be halted from management. Okay, so that's something very specific to New Jersey. So those are the things that are available. Those are the things members really need to know about because they don't always know, or they're too stressed out to remember, to process that, and they forget, and that's also why we're here. We also, remember a lot of this is, the laws, etc. They can be kind of cumbersome to keep, in your mind all the time. You don't need to be an expert at any of this. You don't need to have any of this memorized. You just need to know that it's out there. And if you call us, we will fill in the gaps. Okay. So never be afraid to feel like you don't know enough about this stuff or you're not really sure. That's literally what we're here to do. We're here to just know these things and help people with it. So you always want to refer people to us and give us a call. Never be, concerned about if you know the law exactly or not. We'll figure it out. So moving into how to begin to feel better and start to really work with our minds, and the Dumbledore, I forgot who posted this, but the Dumbledore quote from earlier is so perfect for this entire sequence. So, of course it's all happening in your mind, Harry, but why does that make it any less real? So true. So what fires together, wires together. Okay. So every time you think a thought, so important, you're essentially, technically you are creating a neural pathway. I usually explain this as you're laying down a road. Okay. And so you think a thought, you lay down a road. And the thing to keep in mind here is that our thoughts tend to be pretty repetitive, pretty similar to each other. So if you're thinking something, you're probably thinking that thought probably many times during the day, and you're probably thinking other thoughts that are pretty much related to it. The other thing is that those thoughts that you're having, you probably had them yesterday, you probably had them the day before, and the day before that, and the day before that. And so we have something like 70,000 thoughts running through our mind every day. It's a lot. We're not aware of a lot of them, and they're very repetitive. So those are not just roads you're laying down. They are super highways, okay? And so when you have these super highways running through your brain, taking up real estate, Are they roads you want to drive down or not? Do they make you feel good? Then cool, you probably want to drive down that road. If it doesn't make you feel good, you definitely don't want to drive down that road. And our minds are full of these superhighways that aren't really feeling so great right now. So the thing you want to keep in mind is that you actually have power here. You have power to take control of your thoughts, to change the way that you're thinking, and that is going to change the way that you are feeling. Okay? So positive thoughts are always going to cause positive feelings. Negative thoughts are going to cause negative feelings, right? And it sounds really basic, but we forget this all the time, because if you are upset about something, let's say you're upset about an argument you had with, a colleague a week ago, okay, and you're thinking about it and it's making you really angry and upset right now. And I said, hey, why are you so upset right now? And you explained to me exactly what happened, and they said this, and then I said this, and you tell me the entire story. Well, what's going on right now is, while whatever happened is totally valid and your feelings are valid, the reason you're upset right now a week later isn't because of what happened. It's because you're thinking about it right now. Okay. And so you really want to start to get behind that and, start to say, I want to think the thoughts that are going to make me feel the best. And then eventually those become belief systems. Okay. You actually can change your beliefs, not facts. Gravity is gravity, but you can change the way that you sort of see the world, the way that you feel the world is responding to you. But we can't do that when we have cortisol running through our system, stressing us out, making us think that we are constantly in danger. We need to start to feel safe. We need to start to calm down and feel grounded. So the first thing we do to get to that place is taking a breath, taking some deep breathing. So I'm going to invite all of you right now to do some deep breathing with me. What I'd like you to do is feel free to close your eyes, or if your video's on and you feel too vulnerable here, if you want to turn the video off, that's fine. And I want you to just take one hand, place it over your heart, take the other hand and just place it over your belly. And I want you to take a really deep breath in through your nose, and then I want you to exhale out through the mouth. We're going to do that again, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then this time, you're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. I want you to breathe in so deeply that you feel your belly expanding underneath your hand. You're going to feel the belly getting bigger as you fill up with air. And then as you breathe out, you're going to feel the belly contract. And then continue to breathe here. I'm going to have us slow the breath down. We're going to count to 4 on the inhale and 4 on the exhale. So we're going to count in for 1, 2, 3, 4, and out 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, and out 1, 2, 3, 4. So feel free to keep breathing here with me. I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about what's going on. So actually, I'll just stay here. So what's happening right now is you're actually deactivating the stress system. You're calming your nervous system down. We're doing the opposite of releasing cortisol. And what's going on is you're slowing down your heart rate, you're slowing down your blood pressure. Okay, this is giving you a chance to let the stress actually leave your system for a minute. And also, you're getting present. You're feeling your breath. You're focusing on the breath going in and out of your body. You are feeling it with your hands. You're feeling it through your nose. And you're also counting. You're counting to 4 so that you can really do this slowly. You can also make that 5, 6, probably a little harder to go above that, especially if you're not used to slower breathing. But what's going on then too is because you have to think about all these things and you're feeling all these things, you have now cut yourself off from those 70,000 thoughts that are running through your mind all day long. Those thoughts tend to be one of 2 things. Thoughts of the past, which leave us feeling sad and depressed, okay, a lot of times. Thoughts of the future, which have a tendency to leave us feeling anxious. Why? Because humans are wired to be negative. We literally will think of the worst case scenario, because if we can think through the worst case scenario and find a solution, we have a much better chance of surviving. And do bad things happen? Yes. I'm not denying that. But usually it's not the worst thing that happens. It's usually never as bad as we really imagine it's going to be. And so, again, the cortisol is a safety mechanism. thinking negatively is a safety mechanism. We don't have to always do that. And so that's partly why when you're, looking at an email from a colleague or administration, or you turn on the news, or you open up social media, or you get stuck in traffic, your brain starts to go down that road of the worst case scenario. And that's why you have that stress response. Now, when you get grounded and you're just sitting here breathing, if you can kind of come into this moment, right? Forget about all the things that happened today. Forget about all the things you have going on tonight. Forget about everything that's going on. Right here, right now, all that's happening is you're sitting here, you're hearing my voice, and you're safe. That's truly what's happening in this moment. We tend to never allow ourselves to be in that space. And the more you can get into that space, the more you're going to start to calm your nerves down, and you're going to stop having as strong of a stress response to everything around you. You can start to think through, what do I want to do next? How do I want to feel? What solutions are available to me? And when you have members who are experiencing all the stress and trauma of this year, as we've seen, it's very hard for them to come into this moment. So breathing is really, really important here. If you can add on to that, meditation, huge. So meditation actually changes the brain. And so it helps you to feel more present. And I really hope I've convinced you of how important feeling present is. It gives you more empathy. People with more empathy are happier people. It can increase your learning ability. It can give you a stronger memory. This is really great. This is counteracting all the brain fog if you answered yes to any of those questions. And then the really important thing is it helps to regulate emotions. What they've actually found in all of the studies they're doing is that regular meditation shrinks the amygdala, part of the amygdala, which is releasing all of the stress, fear, and anxiety signals. Okay. So it actually will, so let's say you're stuck in traffic. Instead of going down the path of, I'm stuck in traffic, I'm be late. Well, not right now, because obviously we're all working remotely, but pretend we're normal. We're stuck in traffic. We're going to be late for work. I'm going to be written up. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to have no money. I'm going to lose my home, right? We go through that whole scenario. When you're calm, your brain is going to just go, we're just stuck in traffic and this is going to pass. No big deal. It's all okay. It's all going to be all right. Okay. So you have a different response to what's around you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lead you through a short meditation, a guided visualization. So if you want to go back to that position of hand over your heart, hand on your belly, deep breath in for 1, 2, 3, 4, and out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want you to continue to breathe deeply here. And with your eyes closed, I want you to imagine there is a bright light surrounding your heart. And as you breathe out, I want you to imagine that the light is expanding beyond your heart. And then as you breathe in, imagine the light contracting and returning to just around your heart. So it's almost like this light around your heart is getting bigger and smaller, pulsing in sync with your breathing. It is moving with your breath. So as you breathe in, the light comes back. As you breathe out, the light gets a little bit bigger. And so keep breathing, imagining this light. And then I want you to think of somebody that you love. And this should be somebody that you are happy with. So no drama, maybe pick a pet. And imagine that this light is the love you feel for this person or pet. And, quickly imagine their face in your mind. Think of 1 or 2 things you really love or appreciate about them. Okay, and we're going to associate our love with this light. And I want you to now start to let the light get a little bit bigger. So every time you inhale, every time you exhale, the light's going to grow. So it's going to grow, start to cover and light up through your entire torso. The light's going to go over your shoulders, down your arms, all the way out through your fingertips. Imagine the light's rolling down your hips, over your legs, down to your toes. And now your entire body is bathed in this light. And then as you inhale again, I want you to take that light and let it go expand over to the chair you're sitting in. And now the light is covering you and the chair. And then as you take your next inhale, let's let the light get a little bit bigger. Let it roll onto the floor. And imagine the light is going across the floor of the room you're in until it's reaching the walls all around you. And as you breathe in again, we're going to let the light climb up the walls, rising all the way up to the ceiling, all the walls in the room. And then when the light hits the ceiling and you take another deep breath, imagine the light starting to roll across the ceiling, meeting in the center until the entire room and your body is bathed in this light. As you take another inhale, we're going to change the color. I want you to now imagine that this is a silver light covering the room, covering you. Keep breathing deeply. And then on your next inhale, we'll change the light again. Let's make it gold. So now it's a golden light covering you, covering the room. And then I want you to imagine your favorite color, whatever that is. And your next inhale, I want you to imagine that that light is now your favorite color. Keep breathing. And we're going to start to pull the light back. So as you inhale again, I want you to imagine the light rolling back across the ceiling to the walls. When the light hits the walls, let it start to roll down until it reaches the floor. As you take another breath, pull the light back from the floor to your chair. And then I want you to take all of the light from that chair and pull it back to your body. So now it's just your body completely bathed in the light of your favorite color. And then from there, we'll start to pull the light back up. So imagine the light's rolling back over your toes, up your legs, back your hips, up to your torso, back up through the hands, your arms, your shoulders, until that light, now in your favorite color, representing the person you love, is now centered around your heart one more time. And keeping that color you've imagined, we're going back to that first image of the light pulsing with your breath, getting a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller as you breathe in and out. Take another deep breath. And then exhale. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes. Okay, I think I saw a question coming about how long it takes to start to feel calm, because it can be hard to relax. And I would just suggest starting with the breathing. I think if you can, breathe first, it will help. It's definitely not easy when you get started because, going from a place of extreme stress to calm, it's not a simple transition. So I would suggest, even if you're not feeling relaxed by meditation, even if you listen to a 5-minute meditation and it doesn't really do much for you, you might notice that after some time you are starting to feel better, or I would say focus on the breathing. Okay. I'm glad that some of you are I'm glad it's helpful for people. Yeah, exactly. Commit to it, but don't stress about it. You don't have to change overnight. Nobody, again, you're surviving a pandemic, right? So give yourself a break. Whatever you need to do is fine. But I definitely recommend just saying okay, I'm going to put this in my schedule, maybe in my morning routine or before I go to bed. And then just see, because what will happen is over time, it might start to feel better. There could also be different kinds of meditations. So it doesn't have to be, visualization. Some people might just prefer to listen to nature sounds, or, just doing the breathing. I think the breathing is great. It could also be, somebody mentioned doing some stretches or yoga. That's great too. Listening to music, taking a walk, although it's a little harder right now. Dancing, anything where you're just sort of focusing, you're ready to go to sleep, where you're focusing on something, again, that's not the 70,000 thoughts in your mind all day long. You want to put your focus on something, but it's not zoning out like when you put on Netflix. It's focused, and that's going to relax you more and give you more energy than just turning on the TV would. So it's just a practice. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to feel transformed overnight, but just bringing it in for a few minutes, I think, is really helpful. Okay, next, really great thing that you can do, gratitude. So I would suggest taking a piece of paper or notebook. My light's flickered. And if you can write down 5 things every day, that would be a great thing to do. 5 things that you feel grateful for. Now, the reason why you want to do this is because probably not a shock to you, but it's actually been scientifically studied. People who are in a gratitude practice have a better mood. The other thing, though, that I think is really cool is they found doing studies in the 1950s is that people who practice gratitude have a stronger immune system. And so I'm like, hello, in a pandemic, let's add this on. It's not a replacement for your social distancing and mask wearing and hand washing at all. But I kind of feel like it's like a little bit of an immunity boost or like a vitamin. And if like the cortisol, right, if your stress about the pandemic is weakening your immune system, gratitude is what's going to pull your strength back up. It's going to increase your immune system. Now, if you scored really high on the burnout scale, I know this is going to feel really hard to do. It's going to feel very hard to feel grateful right now. Pick small things. Again, they don't have to be big. It's not like, you don't have to meditate perfectly, and you don't have to be grateful for like having the best year ever. Be grateful you have water to drink. Be grateful you had coffee today. Be grateful that you have electricity. It's cold outside and you're inside and you're warm. Be grateful that you have access to music and you heard your favorite songs playlist. Anything at all. And what's going to happen is over time, because what fires together wires together, your brain is going to go, oh, we're looking for things to feel grateful for. On it, I'm going to think of more things for you. And that list is going to get easier and easier, and you're going to start to feel better. Final piece of this, changing your thoughts. Again, every time you think a thought, you are putting down that road. You are creating superhighways. And so you want to be aware of what you're laying down in your mind. And so if you have a thought that's probably pretty easy to pull out because you've thought it many times, that's anxious, that's worrying to you, write it down and then ask yourself, is this true? Can I factually prove this with like data that this is a true statement and this is exactly the way it's going to be? And I promise you, you are going to have a very hard time proving to yourself that this is the case. And so what that means is that you can then release that thought. Okay. And so one way that you can do this is take a very, very common concern we all have and an anxious thought. I'm going to get sick from COVID-19. Okay. Let's be real. Could you get sick from COVID-19? Yes. Could you also not get sick? Yes. We forget that there is a whole other side to this. Okay. Because we are wired for negativity. We are looking for the worst case scenario because we think it's going to give us a better chance of surviving. Bad things happen. I'm not denying it. Good things happen too. Good things happen too. Yeah, I can go back to the old screen, the previous screen for you. So always remember there is a possibility of something good happening as well. So what I would suggest here is if you have a thought that's really worrisome to you, and we're just going to keep working with this example. And by the way, all of this is in the survival guide that you guys can get. Yeah, so you can have all of these. All of these slides are there, and the burnout assessment can be made available.
Thank you.
Yeah. So basically, just remember you can't predict the future. Okay, you can't. So you don't know that things are going to go terribly. They could go very, very well. And so you always want to focus on the things that you're doing right, the things that are going to be feeling better for you. So instead of thinking you're going to get sick, think about all the things you're doing to maintain your health. Think about the fact that you're being careful, you're following the guidelines. Think about the fact that, hey, on Monday, they started to give out the vaccine. Okay, they started to administer it for the first time. That's, obviously not a suggestion. I mean, it's not saying that it's going to be fixed tomorrow. We're not getting it tomorrow. But you know what? A week ago, no one had the vaccine. A month ago, we didn't have it. Okay, so it's really important to keep focusing on what's happening. That's going to make you feel better. We're not here to say ignore reality. Just come at reality from a place where you feel you're strongest, you feel best. Okay. And then looking at the holidays, right? How can we reframe the holidays and start to feel better about this? Because this is a huge stress point for a lot of people. This is all in the guide. It sounds like it went out before, but I think it can go out again. And so basically, look at some different creative ways that you can connect with your friends, you can connect with your family, but still feel safe. So one of the really popular ones right now is a virtual potluck. So if you were originally going to have a big dinner with friends and family members, you were going to cook something for everybody, cook it anyway, and then put it in some Tupperware, deliver it to everybody's house, have them deliver some food to you. And then after the deliveries are over, you've got this great varied meal that your friends, that your family prepared for you, and then go get on Zoom and eat it with them. Okay. You'll feel really connected. It's kind of fun, but you're going to still be safe. You're going to be protecting everybody. Also, bringing in as many positive affirmations as you can will start to help you feel better. Number one, this holiday season will and feel different, and that's okay. It is okay. Let's let this holiday season be what it is. It does not mean that 2021 is going to look like this at all. This is just what we have right now. Let's just get through this. Also remember, we're all in this together. Okay. I think sometimes it's easy to feel really alone right now, especially because we are actually isolated from each other, and we're not alone. Everybody's feeling this. It's not just you. I think also remember, everyone is doing the best they can. It's easy to get frustrated when somebody's not having the same response that you are to something. Everybody's doing the best that they can possibly do. Remember, you have a right to protect your family, and you have a right to change holiday plans. Okay. These tips and tricks are also in the guide as well. And just remember, I think the number one thing here is minimize your time watching the news. Watch the news. Definitely get your information, but get in and get out. Okay. You do not have to have it on all night long. It's just going to stress you out. Okay. The news does not change minute by minute. So they're just rehashing a lot of things over and over again. And then just finally, you deserve to feel safe this holiday season. You are allowed to have boundaries with work. You are allowed to have boundaries with friends. You are allowed to have boundaries with your family. You are surviving a global pandemic. It's okay to slow down. You don't have to do what you did last year. You don't have to do all the things. You have every right to protect yourself. And during a pandemic, the last thing you need is to feel guilty about any decision you are making this year that is going to help you get through this. Okay? No guilt. You're entitled to feel peace and calm. If you're staying home, you are saving lives. Don't let anybody make you feel bad about that. And you still can connect virtually with everybody. So this is all information. We're here 24/7, for you, for members to connect with. I can put my personal email into the chat or contact the member assistants. You'll get to me at some point. Our phone number is here, our website. And yeah, I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, thank you, Frankie. That was great, and possibly we could send the out to the reps can get a copy of the poster, the COVID resource poster for their members. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Any questions?
So I know that a lot of people asked a couple times, and I hope that we made it clear that you can find it in the NTU update that went out. And Mikey, I assume that based on this, we're probably going to send it out again this week.
Friday, without a doubt.
Yeah. I added another 11. And thanks, Ms. Mallis. Thank you so, Dr. Mallis, Frankie Mallis, Frank.
Yes.
Just the masters.
That's okay. You listen. After today, this was your PhD right here. You just made a whole bunch of people feel a hell of a lot better. So thank you. I think I added another number 11 on that. Just try and end your. And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to shout out Herman Gonzalez because I attended one of his building rep meetings, and he made sure that he said, "All right, give me something that's positive. Everybody, think of 3 things." And I think he ended that way too. It's really important that we acknowledge we're living in a very stressful time. We're still trying to conduct things, and I think this adds to the stress that we're actually trying to conduct things like we're not in bizarro world, which really twists our lives up, because we should just be acknowledging it and change accordingly. But it's very important that you as building reps have that level of communication with your staff. And Ms. Barahona sent out Christmas cards to her staff, and that was such a great little gesture, a little thing. But if you're not going to go that far, just make sure you do that positive affirmation, something positive. Let's end on a high note. Everybody walks out of that meeting feeling that last bit of energy. There's the recency effect in psychology that says, you always remember that thing that happened most recent and that first thing. So try and start your meeting and end your meeting positively, and then in the middle do the tough stuff that you have to get done. But this was absolutely perfect. I'm so glad that Mikey and I think we got an email, and I sent it over to Mikey. I said, this might be something good to do. And Mikey's like, yeah, definitely. And he reached out and coordinated it. And I think it was just absolutely fantastic that our reps, and it was a well-attended meeting. So I really expect that we're going to see a bunch of this kind of filter out into our meeting. And this, and I apologize, I'm talking way too much. HCAMS is really the hidden gem of what the North Teachers Union has. And Terry is understating the fact that he founded this. This is not, this is not like, he's not a representative. He is HCAMS, and he has done so much for so many of our members. And he mentioned it, and this is important. When you get into this process, if it's one of our members, they immediately become legally protected. They escort our members through this process, whether it's whatever the reasons that they reached out for the need, and they are protected. Most cases, it is a 100% case closed. Don't worry about it. Just focus on your health, and everything else is taken care of. And it is one of the greatest services that we were connected to. And again, I think Terry mentioned it was very my pleasure. I know. Listen, I personally know so many people that have gone through this that I cannot say it enough. Yes, the district has one, and I think under our new Aetna plan, there's one. But for me, I have never referred anybody to those programs. I have always gone to this because this is through the union, and there's just that level of security and protection. And I just feel much more confident. And I apologize. I spend a lot of time doing that, but it's important for you to know how important it is that what you do. Just like you've just made us feel better, it's important that we're making you guys feel better, because it is a great service.
Appreciate it. So if every member could get that survival guide, and then talk with Mike later about we could do this district by district, when the reps have their meetings, do a shorter version or something. But thank you. That's something we'll talk about off screen. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Pray that you have a good holiday. And don't be afraid to pick up the phone just to let us know something's going on. Even if we don't do anything, we can start the establishing of the job protection with Chapter 69, so that down the road, if something happens more seriously, then you're protected. So thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you both. Thank you both so much.
Bye.
Thank you very much. It was my best workshop this year.
And enjoy your Harry Potter pillow.
You're welcome to pandemic. Lot of mess.
Hey, you enjoy your Gumby there.
Forky. What? No.
All right. Just thank you, everybody. I want to wish everybody happy holidays.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, Mikey, I don't think we have anything else that we need to go over, right?
No, I think we're good.
No.
I mean, if anybody has any questions, please always feel free to email me, give me a call.
Yeah.
So have a happy holiday, everyone. We'll be sending a lot of stuff out on the Friday update. And hopefully we'll have some updates about, school reopening next month, and we'll go from there.
Yep. Happy holidays, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Happy holiday.
No sandwich.
Happy holiday.
Oh, Donna, somebody just got hurt at Donna's house.
A lot of kids at my house.
One of the grandkids just fell.